South Africa's second gold medal at the Rio Olympics came as expected at high speed in the early hours of Sunday morning through Golden Girl Caster Semenya. South Africa's other gold already secured by the astonishing new track and field sensation Wayde van Niekerk. This is the Moneymakers. I'm Bruce Whitfield. Tonight we're talking about how athletes can turn their gold medals into moneymakers and nest eggs for the future. I'm joined by Ray Wicksell. He's the owner of RDMD Trading. He's also Caster Semenya's manager, and James Monteith, the managing director of the Sport Industry Group. Let's talk to you first, Ray. Caster Semenya arriving back at OR Tambo International Airport, a true South African superstar, controversial nevertheless, but a South African superstar.
Oh, absolutely. And wasn't that a great race she ran in Rio? We all knew that she was going to be our golden girl and bring back that gold medal, but now it's how do you capitalize on such a wonderful performance?
Here she is, a highly marketable entity in a world that doesn't necessarily see her as that marketable. There are going to be challenges to her gold medal, as there were challenges to her in 2012. There's some sore losers emerging out of Rio 2016. Her battle seems to be a little bit bigger than perhaps the one that Wayde van Niekerk might face.
Absolutely, and now it's time to capitalize because she really didn't make money from her silver medal in London. And the whole plan now is let's capitalize and let's have a wonderful 4 years till the next Olympic Games.
Now, is she globally marketable as a world champion, gold medal winning 800-meter athlete?
Absolutely. There's a lot of countries, especially the United States, they love her, some European countries also, but she really hasn't been marketed, especially in this country, very, very well. I just picked her up about 2 weeks ago with two other gentlemen that are ex-athletes, middle distance runners that understand the sport of marketing also. So hopefully we're going to turn her into a global icon and make sure that she has the right exposure, not only in South Africa, but throughout the world.
The world is a hypocritical place, though. We in South Africa will celebrate Caster Semenya's gold medal. There are going to be those who question the gender issues related to hyperandrogenism, those issues that came through after her win in Rio.
But that must pass. I mean, this has been going on for too long. I'm actually surprised how well she's done with all the years of negativeness that she's been going through. We should give her 2 gold medals. Let's stop about the gender and testosterone conversations. Let's talk about who's taking drugs in the Olympics and stop the people that are really the crooked ones taking all the drugs.
So how are you going to position Caster for the next for the next 4 years up until we get to Tokyo?
Well, I'm going to do, Bruce, what I did with the Nike athletes years ago in the 70s and 80s. We're going to turn them into sporting icons. Caster, I'm going to bring her to the people. I'm going to bring her into some of the malls here in South Africa. She's going to go to the schools. She's going to be in TV commercials, print campaigns. We're going to get her out there. South Africans are going to really know who Caster is and what she has to offer. She's not only a great athlete, she's a wonderful human being.
Well, James, that's exactly what we need in South Africa. We need role models. We don't get it out of much of public life, so we rely on our sports people to do so, James.
Absolutely. We've seen time and time again through numerous pieces of research that it's the heroes in the sport that actually drive participation. So more youngsters aspiring to be like a Wayde or a Caster and wanting to win gold medals at Olympic Games means that, you know, whichever sporting code it is actually going to grow. The more people that take part, the more people start watching. So the business of sport therefore benefits. The more people watching, the more advertisers demand space within those broadcasts. The television stations then put on more content, and it's just this cycle that carries on going. I think what Ray said about, you know, wanting to create a personality or a brand around Caster is vitally important going forward, because in order to capitalize on the actual revenue following a gold medal, brands would want to associate with an athlete whose brand personality or persona matches what they're trying to communicate to their target audience.
Now, I mean, one-man marketing machine in Usain Bolt, for example, has got even Telkom as one of his backers, and I approached Telkom, I said, well, you can't really move internet at Wayde speed. You wanted it at Bolt speed. But why was it that you backed Bolt in his personal capacity, yet you went for the team approach when it came to South Africa? A lot of people are still stung by Oscar. And when great athletes or great celebrities go bad, it goes quite spectacularly bad. People are quite afraid of South African celebrity right now.
Well, I don't think it's just South African celebrity. I think it's global. I mean, you mentioned Oscar, but there was Maria Sharapova, there was Tiger Woods. There's an endless list of athletes that have potentially brought the brands that are associated with them into disrepute. Brand ambassadorships are something that are negotiated over a long period of time. And the whole question of why Wayde wasn't the first choice for Telkom is that, when Telkom were looking at that campaign and actually putting it together, Wayde wasn't necessarily on everyone's lips. It was only a couple of months before the Olympics when he really ran, I think it was the 100 in sub 10, the 200 sub 22 and the 400 sub 44, that he really became a household name. Athletics in South Africa is only followed by about 15 to 16% of the population, whereas Usain has held the world record at the 100 meters for, I think it's going on 6 odd years now. So he's had a much longer time in order to actually permeate into popular culture as a star. And I think that's really the answer to the whole Telkom debate. With Telkom taking a team approach with Team South Africa, it's really because of the draconian IOC laws in terms of advertisers around the Olympics or associating with Olympic athletes that Telkom needed almost a seat at the table, and they got that by coming on board as a sponsor of Sascock.
I don't know Custer, I don't know Wayde, but they both seem to be really nice, quite soft-spoken, not ego-driven individuals. Don't you need to amp up the ego a little bit, Ray Wicksell, when it comes to your athletes? Get them to be just that little bit more pushy, boltish, if you like.
Well, that's my job as an agent. What I want to do is bring her to the people, and I want the people to know her personality and get her out there. And that's been lacking for many, many years. I've been here almost 28 years in South Africa, and I don't know whether we really have the right sporting heroes, because a lot of them don't go to the people. In Castor, I want to bring her to the people. They're going to know her personality, and we have 4 years to showcase her in South Africa. And I just love that she's humble. South Africa really doesn't know the Castor. The real Castor. The real Castor is kind, she's soft, and she's wonderful with children. They know her as a great Olympic athlete.
She's all of those things, and she's fast. James, when it comes to the monetization of a career, these athletes have got a relatively short period of time in which they can monetize their skill. Both Custer and Wayde are bound to make it to the next Olympic Games. Whether they've each got another one in them after that remains to be seen. You represent, I think, or you work with at least 19 of the top 20 brands in South Africa. Just how hungry are they to attach themselves to our big names?
Well, brands are very conservative. We mentioned earlier brands being brought into disrepute. So they are quite hesitant of late in order to get involved with individuals. And that's why we're seeing brand ambassadorships growing as opposed to straight brand sponsorships with individual athletes. I think that brands are better protected through a brand ambassadorship than they would be necessarily for a contract on a sponsorship. But there certainly are brands out there, perhaps one that has an ethos of championing through adversity or even speed, who would want to associate with someone like Custer. I just think that they've got to find those unique stories that mirror what the brand is trying to portray and what the athlete portrays as well. And that's really up to the creative ad agencies in order to actually find those stories, craft them properly, and sell them to the public.
We regard these people as superstars. Globally, though, they're just a couple of really good athletes from South Africa. How important is brand South Africa when it comes to globalizing the opportunities available to people like Wayde, like Caster Semenya, like our swimmers, for example, who are massively globally competitive?
Well, Bruce, I think we need to remember as well that Wayde and Custer and the majority of our athletes are watched more globally than they are watched locally. So I would almost say that they're more global athletes than they are local athletes. We don't have a thriving athletics season in South Africa, so they're forced to actually go and run in the IAAF league in Europe, where the stadiums are full. We have a national championships here, and if you have 5,000 people in the stadium, you're actually lucky. And there's a number of reasons for that, and we can get into a debate on that another time. But someone like Wayde's brand sponsorship by Adidas is a global property. They use him in a lot of their global ads to promote their Olympic association. So I definitely think that there are potential for international brands to get involved, and I don't necessarily think that the South Africanness of them is actually going to be a hindrance at all. I do, however, believe that there are South African firms that are prepared to actually be out there and start supporting athletes again. But again, it's doing it in a very sincere and very honest and open way.
No, again, it's all about matching the ego of the product, the ego of the brand with the ego of the individual concerned. Brands have been burned. Ray Wicksell, what does Caster's financial situation look like as she goes into Tokyo? 10 times better than now? Twice as good as it is now? Simply a bit better than now?
Well, I think she's going to have a good 4 years, and it all depends on how you're going to brand her, how you're going to market her. At the moment, she only has Nike as a sponsorship, and it's an international sponsorship. So we're looking at corporates to back her here in South Africa, but she needs money at this point in time. And like I mentioned earlier, the silver medal brought her nothing the last Olympic Games. Now she has a gold medal. She's our golden girl. We need to capitalize on that, and you only have a small little window to do it. So hopefully we'll have some good corporates coming to the forefront and back her, because she's got not only one Olympics, but I believe she has probably 2 Olympics in her.
My thanks to Ray Wicksell, owner of RDMD Trading. He's also Caster Semenya's brand new manager, and James Monteith, the managing director of Sport Industry Group. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the Moneymakers. Other goal chasers, other dream seekers, through sport, through business, whatever, we don't care. We just like to tell you the good stories. Till next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.